All right. Good morning, everyone. April 14th, tradingology.com and the trading room for the day. Opening up the doors. Everyone's coming in. Good morning, Dave. See if I got my speakers up.
There we go. Good morning.
All right. I got you now. Loud and clear. Morning, Asham. We had a nice little morning for folks. Lots of people got some trades in even before the open, so we're doing well already.
Nice. By the way, apologies to all for missing last Thursday. You know what happened was, I told you in the chat that after that stimulus came out from the Fed, the new $2 trillion program, and they're buying junk
Yep.
and municipal bonds. I just tried to dig into as much as I could about it, and I lost track of time. I looked up at my computer and it was 11. I said, oh. Anyway, my apologies, guys. Good morning, Isaac. Morning, Shakir. Sham, good morning. Yeah, very interesting market. You guys are in and out today. Good for you.
Yeah, we're playing.
Strong.
Had some nice setups on the micros. I hit earlier there and I got out, and then shortly after the trade I got back in with a couple ES contracts and took profits off there. So nice day so far. One thing I wanted to ask you, or I shouldn't say ask you, but we should cover is I think was it you, Asham, or was it, who was it? Let me look at the room real quick. Dun, 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 dun. Brackets. Yeah, Asham was looking at the internals. And definitely setting up as a true trend day. You know, we're 23.55 currently right now on the advancing declining. UD vols nicely stair stepping up. Everybody's buried, right? So this is definitely a setup for a true trend day to the upside.
Yeah, for sure.
What we want to be careful of, what I wanted you to cover quick, was when you wrote the big PDF right about this, when you had your $47,000 day, when these first started showing up, you didn't just buy in the morning and let it sit till the close, did you?
No.
So yeah, I think it's important that people understand that you're still looking for levels or the best places to enter and exit a trade, and you're not just waiting for it to close higher at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So, I mean, if we're up, and today we're up over, especially today we're up over 2%. What is the percentage?
Indexes are almost 2.5% right now.
Yeah. So if it's under 1, I'll buy and stair step into that buying. So I'll dollar cost average in as we get a little bit of a pullback. But I'm not just buying on every new high or as it continues to go higher. I'm just kind of I'm waiting for those levels to get hit. I'll buy some more and just kind of stair step it up. But if we're over 2%, see that day in particular, we weren't over 1% at the start, but we had the internals right off the bat, looking beautiful. Morning, Ryan.
Yeah, I'd say that's definitely important. Yeah, good morning, Nurag. Less people coming in. Good to see you. If you're up like we are now, over 2.5%, I personally would be just taking some profits here and there. If it dips down, maybe grab some more. That's the way I kind of look at it when we're at these high ranges. Not to say that I'm the only one that's right, or my way's the only way to do it. Obviously, people are successful many ways. Just to be careful that I don't want people to get the impression of, if we had the true trend setup days, that we just said, okay, we're going long and let's see where we end and let's hope for the best.
No, that's not the way to do it, because you can have a true trend day where I've seen it over 2% and it still ends up being up higher, but it's only 2.2% maybe at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure you had that clear, Sham, especially since you were saying you're doing some testing on it. That watch the indicators, and if it goes against you and you're in profits, capture those profits.
Absolutely.
And I know you're paper trading, but treat it like it's real money. Good job. Okay.
So my best trade of the week so far is TLT. I shorted it last week, doing very, very nicely today. Indicated that interest rates are probably going to go a little bit higher. We looked at the 10-year yesterday. When I was looking at the 10-year yesterday, it was just, just looked like it was starting to move up a little bit higher. And I think what's happening is that in my thesis last week was that we're banks and everybody else in the market right now is starting to price in the risk of lending. Yeah.
Yep.
And you heard, I'm sure you saw the news about Chase requiring 20% down on new home purchases now.
Yeah, I have heard they're buckling down on the different mortgage rates again. They're going back to what it was previously on some cases. And the other part that I think is interesting is banks are starting to report their earnings this week.
Yes, they are. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. But J&J, Johnson & Johnson, increased their dividend, and they exceeded their expectation, the estimates on their earnings. Of course, they manufacture all those masks and stuff. So.
Yeah, between that and sanitizer and soap and all that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a few that are definitely higher in this because, that's what happens. Not everyone's going to be a loser.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they also increased their dividend.
Yeah, that is surprising at the same time.
That's a long-term kind of, forecast there.
We do have. Wanted to give a shout out to Mark there for his call out and leveraging the signals yesterday that he saw. We'll pull over the SD and SD chart quick, whereas he had put this up in the room.
Yeah.
He perfectly called out looking at these. I'll have to squeeze this down again so you guys can see it.
Yeah, because they're pretty big.
What were they, 400 or 500 or so if I mouse over it here? 494. We had a SD level. Then later in the day, we had a 203.
Yeah.
Nice place to go long, and he grabbed some nice profits on that NQ. It was a big move. It's really muted because of the overnight activity.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Actually, if you bought in those levels, that was a pretty nice move right there. That's like 60 points on the NQ.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big move.
And if you had the kahunas to hold it overnight, you really paid off.
Yeah.
Steven says, how do you load the workspace? Trying to share my office, my system's at home. So the way you do it quick is, where's my main screen? We'll slide this guy over. And I will have a specific, I'm giving you guys another refined MES Masterclass setup. So it's a little bit easier for everybody to load now that I've kind of fine-tuned it. So look for that coming up. But this is how you quickly do it, Stephen, is in your setup, you'll save, first you want to save your workspace, and then you share your workspace. Then when you share it, TOS creates a link that you need to copy, and then you open that link up or go to open workspace on your second computer, and then you load it up, and then you switch to it down there. So that's kind of the quick and dirty for it, but I'll do a whole video on you for it for the MES Masterclass specifically. Yeah, it should pop up. Here, I'll do it just so you see what it looks like. I'll do a fake one here. If I can control my window. We'll say I'm going to share this one. I'm going to save it or share it. We'll just call it blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not really bad blah. We won't maybe call it that. Testing. And that's going to obviously probably exist. We'll just call it 121212.
Mark. Zero cojones here. I don't blame you, Mark. Me too. I didn't go long after the market closed yesterday either.
Right. So when I save it like this, and I go to share, this will pop up. You'll see a little drop down come. Hopefully it works now that I'm running my bunch of compute power right now. There it is. So it pops on for a second. You can click on it if you want to. You don't have to, but it's a way that if you do open the link, what it's going to do is it's going to open in a browser. If I find wherever my browser is.
Yeah, and it's some sort of generic page, and then you just copy the link from that page.
Exactly. So watch for that drop down, then grab that in your browser. And I have too many browsers open right now, so I can't find it. So I don't want to move your attention anywhere else. But that's exactly where you do that.
Hey, Mark, I highlighted your post in the Tradingology trading room. I don't know. Did you see that on Twitter?
I did.
Yep.
You're famous now, Mark. Good job.
Yeah. Yep, Hashem saw it.
Nice. Can you discuss volume weighted profile? If it's worthwhile to add to the class, don't want to add an extra element to the trading subject. What do you mean by volume weighted profile? Oh, creating a script for it? Use your eyes.
No, it's the VWA or the one that's in
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, the one that set up.
It's possible. I could look at it.
Yeah, and if you guys see those posts on Twitter, I'm trying to blow up Dan and trying to get some new subs for him. So if you see those things on Twitter, just retweet them and do whatever you can to like them and stuff like that.
You figure the more people we help, the more people are in control of their own destiny, which is my goal, is to let people control where they're going and what they're doing, especially in these times.
Absolutely. And one of the few ways that you can actually make money in this economy now, if things are really going to get worse and worse, is probably trading. It's a much larger part of my income now than it was 6 months ago.
Right. And I had mentioned, you guys probably saw the email that I sent out yesterday. Because everyone's asking me, well, yeah, $100 a day is great, but can this actually scale to replace my income? So I traded ES yesterday, and boom, there you go. Instead of $89, I made $900.
Right.
So this is easily scalable, and I wasn't in all day. I was in literally 11 minutes of trading.
Yeah, that's another thing that's really nice about this.
So yeah, if this, I don't want to see the volatility go away, because that'll take away some of the easy opportunity.
Absolutely.
Don't tell them I said that.
We're
blowing right through all the price targets. So.
Yeah, that's that. Those are the internals. True trend day working.
Yep.
If you buy those pullbacks, those can be good. YM looks a little bit weaker, but it's still hitting that support at that on those points, the pivots. We'll see what happens there.
You're welcome, Mark. I'm happy to hear that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, Sean, that's what we want to see, is that light bulb go off and you get your aha moment, and it all starts to gel.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Dan, that course you did is absolutely fantastic. I love it.
Did you make it through all 5?
Yeah, Dan gave me a kind of a preview copy. I kind of went through it, and it's just really, really good stuff.
Thank you. Lots of effort. The Neuragas does the workspace. Your own remains saved even when you reinstall the TOS. Well, if you reinstall, no. Like if you uninstall and reinstall TOS, you'll have to reload it. So save your links. And it's the same thing if you have multiple computers. That doesn't save up in their cloud. Maybe that's a feature request we can make of TDA, or now that they're merged with Schwab, who knows what'll happen. To have like a shared workspace, that would be fantastic. I would love that myself. Go to my laptop and it's the same one.
Yeah, that would be nice. But
you do have to reload them a new rug. If you reinstall TOS or Thinkorswim for whatever reason, you're gonna have to reload your workspace.
Yeah, so what I do is I put them in a separate text file just to save in case something goes down.
You might get lucky on a reinstall if there's some system files, just like you do any other program. Like if you remove and reinstall something and it doesn't delete everything, you might get lucky, but I wouldn't count on it.
Boom, there goes the YM. Hit that level, the pivot, and boom.
Yep, this is now acting as support.
Yeah. as well as the EMA.
Oh, look at that, guys. I got Dave looking at EMAs.
Yeah, I don't use a lot of moving averages, but that intrigued me for sure.
It's a victory in my book.
Yeah, there's a nice easy 50 points right there, 60 now.
Right?
Now I can get out right there, but I'll take my profits and run.
Yeah, whenever I see nice extended candles, grab the money and run.
Yeah.
The biggest thing too, I should say the biggest thing, another thing is don't get greedy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is gonna keep running. I'm gonna make $5,000 today. That'll come back to bite you in the butt.
Absolutely. Look at that. We're already starting to come off of it. And Nordic says, Dan, does the workspace, oh, you read that already. Thanks, David. Dan, does the MES Masterclass, Dan, this MES Masterclass is a game changer. You need to let Trump know. I think we should send him a direct Twitter message.
At POTUS, I got you figured out, man.
Look, I mean, we don't even need the stimulus. You can keep the freaking stimulus. Just go to the MES Masterclass.
Keep the stimulus. I'd rather see my local businesses stay open than have a stimulus check.
Yeah, I know.
The IRS will let them know. Yeah, don't tell anybody. Hey, Tom, good to see you. Another good key that you were talking to that we could talk about for a few minutes here, and I saw you had a few questions in the real-time update channel, is about the spreadsheet, right? How we're getting some putting the puzzle together.
Tom B, good to see you. I know you missed last week. Glad to see you here. Doing a little work from home today, Tom? I think everybody is. Huh? Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple of questions on the spreadsheet. We got a lot of conflicts. So we got volatility, MT volatility coming down to 84%. Big drop there. MT supply and demand, not really. I mean, -5 is not really that significant. So kind of light selling there. So that was definitely a contrarian view. But the third column of the pipeline, 38% is extremely low. So we went from a high of like 165 down to 38%, which means all the volatility has been sucked right out of the market. Lots of bullish herding. The only thing that is still very, very bearish is the ABS. That's at 1805, and every single decline in the market has always had an ABS that's really, really high. We would need to see that average volume per share decline below that 1500 level for about a week before we can call it like, oh, yeah, we're probably not going to go to new lows. But the numbers don't lie. The volatility has been sucked right out of the market. That's why we've been getting some really big up moves. And that little bearish herding right there is probably going to be an orphan. Sitting there all by itself.
Yeah, unless something crazy happens today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So watch that ABS. That's the thing I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Also, if you scroll to the right a little bit further, you'll see the long-term signal had gone negative, and if it stays negative, that's also pretty bearish. Yeah. When we bottomed out, so did the market.
And a 166 yet the day before. First time that's been not a 4-digit number for the 21-day sum.
Yeah. And there's a huge gap there between the 21 and 27-day sum, and it's always kind of a 50-50 chance whether the 21 is going to come down and meet the 27 or the 27 is going to bump up and meet the 21, but they always come together at some point. And it looks like today we're going to get a big boost in the 27 and the 21. So when they start to even out again and the LT signals are still negative and the ABS is still high, that's a good time to go short. The general markets. They all got to line up.
Perfect. Yeah, big extendo move. Get out before it goes down again.
Yeah. But yeah, these markets are great for trading. I've made more in the last couple of months than I did like the last 6 months of last year. It's been so good.
This one's coming up and hitting.
Yeah, that's got a little resistance right there.
That's the extreme for the Camarilla pivot. So that's interesting. So the two red lines are the first two. That's the extreme. So if we get above that, that's typically a turnaround point.
Yeah. Oh, you know, in addition to the 20% down payment that Chase is asking for on mortgages, they're also doing VOEs on the day of closing. A VOE is a verification of employment.
At the same time, huh? Just to make sure.
Right on the same day of closing.
Wow.
You know, I mean, they used to do it like maybe a week or 2 weeks before, just to make sure you're still employed. Yeah, now they're actually calling your employer the day you close.
Holy cow!
Hey, this guy still got a job? No. All right, we're not closing.
That's crazy. How'd you like to be the seller in those cases? Oh, what do you mean?
Yeah, I know. Ooh.
Falls through or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's kind of devastating. And I think Chase has, you know, raised it. Chase has never really been, in my opinion, I don't think I've really seen them very aggressive in the mortgage market. But they have, I think it's probably going to spread to other banks. You know, they're just going to say, hey, look, you want a mortgage now? 20% down, please.
Yeah.
No more of these 3%ers.
I can see it being a monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
Or they all get together and have their secret meetings.
Yeah.
But
they're pricing in the risk. You know, it's more risky now to lend, and it's more risky to do mortgages with all the economy declining. And it doesn't matter what the Fed tells them to do or how much assurances the Fed will give the banks. The banks have to kind of protect their own rear ends, you know?
Well, yeah, because they know it's coming. Real estate market's set up for a crushing blow for the next couple of years. The good thing about the real estate market is it doesn't drop like the stock market does, right? It's usually more controlled. We're cruising down.
Yeah. Oh, look at the internals. Oof.
We're starting to get a turn down here. We'll see if that bleeds through the 0.8 or not.
I know from that level, it's very rare to kind of go down that way. But
yeah, except for when we see the very weak markets that can't hold up. I remember seeing those last year was the first time I saw that happen. And I asked him, I said, Dave, you ever saw that? And he said, yeah, in a really weak market.
Yeah.
But it's always the cushion, like you said, right? We're starting 2.5%, 3% up. You know, we could lose half of it and they'd still have a green day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Sham says, if I go to setup and toss, how can I export all the saved workspace links to save for future reference? Well, when you save one, you'll have it in your list. But the link itself, to start it, you just have to save that when you do it the one time when you share it. But you can always have your setups in here. It'll make a list, whatever you have loaded. Like you see, I got older ones from previous. And that'll stay there forever until you delete it. So you can always just reload one, re-save it, or reshare it, and get a link for yourself. But just know when you are sharing things, they have to be unique. So you can't use the same name you used the first time. You run into first world problems like I have.
Mm.
Steven says, gonna cut out 90% of the people who buy homes. Last generation, we had 20% down. Was the greatest generation, wasn't it?
Well, you know, I guess because there's been so much money printing that, you know, 3%, 1%, no percent has been kind of the norm. But yeah, I mean, if you go back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you know, 20%, 25% was the norm.
Well, and look at a house was $50,000 at that time too.
Yeah. Yeah, or less. Yeah, I mean, geez, if you go back to the 60s, houses were $5,000 and $10,000 for, you know, kind of a small one. But
yeah, now the average is like $250,000 across the country.
Yeah,
that means a lot more.
I mean, there's some places in the world that you can't get a mortgage. You have to pay cash for your house, like Colombia. They don't have mortgages there. And so when they have an economic downturn, nobody really gets, hey, I don't care. Nobody loses their house. you pay cash for it.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole mentality in the whole society, right? Get rid of the credit-based society and you get what you pay for and you own whatever you have. That's a whole different world.
It is.
It'll blow people's minds if they try to make them do that. What do you mean you have to actually afford what you're buying?
Yeah. I mean, in the Great Depression, for generations, like 2 or 3 generations after the Great Depression, well, I think we're in the 3rd generation now, but at least for the first generation after that, the kids that grew up in the Great Depression, I mean, you didn't buy anything until you could afford to pay for it.
Yep. That's a great way to go back to. Yeah. You can't buy it until you save the money and you buy it outright.
That's right. Not many can afford 20%. Absolutely.
Did you stock up on houses for $5,000 in 2009, Stephen?
Yeah.
That's the scary thing is, I don't know if we'll go back down to 5, but there's going to be houses for sale in a couple of years.
Yeah.
For those that are retail or real estate investors, that day is coming again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, right now, being a trader is probably the very best occupation. I mean, if you can really learn this stuff and you understand how markets operate and how to trade using the indicators that we've developed, I mean, this is the time to be a trader because you may not be able to make money any way else.
Right.
This is a lesson not just for us. Obviously, we're preaching to the choir here, but when this gets out on YouTube, I'm telling everybody, this may be an opportunity for people to actually make money, and you don't need a lot to start. I mean, you did it in the MES Masterclass with $5,000, and you made $1,400. And how long was that? Like a week, maybe?
2 weeks. Right now.
I mean, that's a paycheck for people.
Oh yeah. As of today, I'm at $7,600 on that account that I started with $5,000.
There you go. Absolutely.
And here's the quick glimpse, and I'm going to upload this to the members area. I don't have anything. I had 2 days that went down. One day I shouldn't have traded because I slept too long. Josh knows all about that if he's in here. So I made a mistake and I traded when I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
So that was this day.
Yeah.
Here's when I opened it. $5,000 deposit. Here's the first day I was getting used to Trade-Evade. I made a mistake. $50 loss, whatever it was that day. But every day since then, this is all trading MES. Yeah, talk about making your own paycheck. And here's where I switched to the ES.
Nice. Yep, it's just a matter of scale and difference between MES and ES. Nice. Yeah, that's $1,400 right there in like 2 days.
Yeah. And that's literally less than a half an hour.
Yep.
Exactly. I know, Asham. You live and you learn. I was sleepy, and there was actually a problem executing it that day, so I should have just walked away. But you learn your lessons. Even I'm human, so I'll take 2 days that are down out of 18 that were traded.
Yeah, and it's not about getting rich. It's just about, increasing your account size. It's just doing what you need to do every day in order to make a few $100 or, whatever, just grow your account. That's all it is. Dave, any insider info on MGI? Expect to see some positive results from them, but stock prices have been declining before the pandemic. So yeah, absolutely. I think MGI still has a really good use case for XRP. I'm not really too worried about it. I think we're probably going to head higher today. What are we doing today? Yesterday, they were up about 7%. Where are they in my list here? I've got so many different symbols that I'm watching now. It's absolutely insane.
MGI is up 2% right now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's too much to worry about. I like them. I still like them. No insider info. Obviously, I don't. I don't have any inside information on the company, but I still like it.
We'll take a look at the daily there.
Tom wants to know how you built that balance chart in Excel.
I learned from Dave.
It wasn't like.
Actually, it wasn't too hard.
Yeah. I mean, you're basically just putting in a chart there next to your numbers.
Yeah, it just pulls the value, and then it builds a graph off of it.
Yeah.
It's actually fairly simple, but I'm going to put it on the member site, so you can download it and adjust it if you want.
Oh, nice. Well, here we go, guys. Boom.
See,
we're gonna fall out of the sky here. Get out of the true trend day. As soon as we go below 2,000, we're out.
And we already got 2 reds on the up-down volume, so
that broke already. Yeah, it's broken. Yeah, so it's like we looked at the when we looked at the spreadsheet, the conflicts, but the AVS is kind of the big one. I want to take a look at that. If that stays high, that's a common theme of every single major decline. If that stays high,
see, they were just getting people all happy to get them in long again, and whammo. Hey, you're welcome, Tom. Well, we know about the few. How about anybody else? Good successful trades to report? Other people having good times or bad times? Let us know and we can celebrate with you or help you adjust.
Yep, Ryan, that's it. That's right. GoPro is doing nicely. Yeah, bouncing off that $2 level up to $3. Very nice. Good to see that. I'm not sure if they're going to be. I'm not sure if they're going to escape the downturn. So I think all stocks are probably going to hit that downturn again, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm still holding on to them. GoPro, MGI. I just keep them in my back pocket, waiting for them to go up. Trade around them, do the MES, MNQ, MYM.
Sham's asking about the new workspace. All I tweaked really, Sham, was those saving the price zoom and the time zooms, so I don't have to scroll in every time. That was the biggest little one. So just going into the gear settings for the charts and saving that just to show you quick in case you didn't, or in case you've missed it. Yeah, so if you've done that on your end, it probably won't matter as much. Whoops, I don't want to click active trader. So that's the 2 biggest ones, just because it drives me crazy. I wish it was a setting I could set permanently in TOS. It seems like I have to keep resetting it when I create new charts or new flexible grids. So it's a matter of just setting that the one time. Cool. All right. Yeah, we're definitely taking the turn back.
What do you think of the, excuse me, what do you think of the dollar index? What do you think's going on there? We had some pretty big volatility in the Dixie.
It recently took back off again, didn't it?
Yeah, took right off and then kind of pulled back.
It was last week that it took off, didn't it?
Yep. No, it was a couple weeks ago.
Was it a few weeks now already?
Yeah, so that was back on March 20th it took off, and then it kind of retraced. Now it's just kind of been in a range between 99 and 101.
Yeah, I have a feeling with, the rest of the commodities that we're looking at, if it's going to revert from those or not.
Yeah, they had, I mean, if the dollar currency index, the DXY is the symbol. And if you look at it, it's, it's really measured against a basket of other currencies, right? So we can still be stronger, even though they're doing all this money printing. We can still be stronger than DXY compared to the other 6 currencies that it's in the basket that it's measured against, because everybody else is devaluing their currency as well. So we could remain strong. A lot of people are calling for a decline in the dollar index because of all the money printing that we're doing, but they're not looking at it, you know, as a US dollar in relation to all these other currencies.
Right, the correlation versus just the spot price itself.
Right.
And apparently Toss doesn't want to show it to me right now.
Yes, yes. Traders refer to the DXY as the Dixie.
You learn something new every day.
That's kind of like my main focus actually right now, is taking a look at that dollar index, because it is, I think it's going to be a leading indicator into what's coming as far as interest rates go. We continue to see that move higher. We're going to see interest rates move a little bit higher as well. And part of the reason, and not only, I mean, everybody believes the money printing is going to like send it to zero, but there's a demand out there for US dollars right now that's really strong. There's actually a shortage of dollars.
That's interesting.
Yes.
How funny does that sound? We're flipping out trillions in a heartbeat, and there's a shortage of it.
Exactly. There is a demand out there for dollars. And why is that? Because everybody's got bills they got to pay. And there's like, I mean, even foreign countries are denominated their debt in US dollars. Petrodollars are debt. I mean, there's so much denominated in USD that there's a huge demand. And that's why it's just counterintuitive that the Dixie would go up. It's very counterintuitive to everybody. People are just scratching their heads. Well, it's basic supply and demand.
And speaking of leading indicators, did you see what they're talking about doing in the yield curve?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're expanding. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
And they want to have it fixed and locked in, right?
Oh no, I didn't see that. Who said that?
I think that was on Mike, his show yesterday. So check his video yesterday. I forget what article it came from. We can find the source and give it to you guys after the fact. But yeah, they're talking about having a fixed yield curve now. So we won't even have that for the bond markets for a forward-looking indicator.
Well, if the Fed buys up all the bonds, yeah, they can I mean, they can fix it any way they want, right? Because there are no other buyers for bonds, I don't think. The Fed is like 80%, 90% of the market now. But I saw this chart. Let me see if I can pull this chart up. I can put it in my trash. Let me see if I can find it again. I'm not sure if I posted this on the Slack channel or not. Oh,
Heads up on loading the workspace. Need to adjust time settings on the charts.
There it is.
Toss was lagging for I couldn't understand why until I saw it. Oh, okay. I don't know. That's interesting that the time zone would make it lag. Or do you mean just what time it's said for you? Yeah, I always just have it. That's a personal preference that you can set your own time zone. So yeah, if the workspace moves it to central, just move it back to whatever you want to view, whether that's Eastern or your local time zone. Good call, though. Thanks.
All right, I just loaded that up to the Tradingology Slack channel. So remember when the curve inverted, we see the curve inverting back in late 2019 and early 2000. Yeah, it was late 2019. And that's October, November, December area. And now, just like every other recession that we've had, the spread, the yield curve starts to expand rather than invert. So the inversion is the leading indicator of a recession. And so we hit that on the right side of the chart there. We went negative on the inversion. And now we're starting to expand. And what that means is that typically, like, the difference between the shorter term and the longer term expands. It gets wider and wider. And so I think that's part of building in the risk to interest rates that we're going to see. And it also is further indication that we're going to go into a much, pretty deep recession.
Yeah, so it felt like to me, like if they're trying to manipulate this curve now and remove this, that people wouldn't get the early warning signal that we're headed to a recession, even though they
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nobody would be able to see that again. It's kind of like how they removed, I forgot which money supply, I think it was M3 or something. They removed the money supply, and, they made some changes to the CPI over the years so people couldn't see what the real inflation figures were. And I mean, they just manipulate the data so that, they come up with some good justifications, I guess, but they manipulate the data so nobody can see what's really going on.
Right. And then the gold people are doing their agreements between the CFTC and who's the other one, the LG or LB something, where it's going to be not shown to people. It's going to be secret. This new 400-ounce bar. So there's more.
Oh, yeah. 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 What the heck? And they told the CFTC what's up. And they just, did you see Mike Maloney's video on that yesterday?
Yep.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it's good.
They're telling the CFTC.
Right, and they're agreeing to it, and it's all this private that went into effect yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, they know they don't have the gold to deliver, so now they have to just liquefy every single one of those contracts.
Put it into the Freedom of Information Act, so now we can't see it. So that's like an oxymoron to me.
It is, yeah.
So much for the freedom of the information.
Right.
Who's it? Stephen was asking about. We were touting Mark's post, and we showed it earlier on the live. But here's his post itself. Where looking at the SD signal, the supply demand, it was Stephen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Stephen was asking that.
Okay. So yeah, what we're looking at, Stephen, here is when these peak, and these perfect notations, Mark, I'm going to hire you for a screenwriter or something.
I know, those are good.
Huge institutional buy, another buy where there was multiple hundreds. So this one was way above, and looking where price was at the time. And he's got the bullish mark here. So here's where he bought in Q.
And they came right down to the R1 and R2, the support and SR1 and 2.
Yep, bouncing right off these.
Yep.
And once you got his confirmation, I don't know when exactly, if he bought here or wherever it was a good buy. Then he sold it up here before the close. So that's how he did the, no offsetting orders. I missed that the first time. And he's got a trend line here on this on the strength indicator.
Beautiful. That's exactly the way I do it. You look at that support one. Yep.
So that's how he put that all together. And he said, this is an opportunity to go long, and it paid off for him. Does that help?
That's a big move. I mean, that's a big move. You get to 82.37 to 83.28.
That's almost 100 points on the NQ.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
That's a payday right there.
Oh, yeah. That's a very nice job.
Whether you're trading the micros or not, that's if you're doing the full contracts, even just one, buy one, sell one.
Yeah.
Mark can divulge if he wants, if he was real money or not. We'll leave that to him. We're not going to out anybody.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Glad that helped, Stephen. And thank you, Mark, for sharing that. We're making you blush again. And we're rolling up on quarter two, so let us know if you got any final questions. Looks like we're trying to bounce back up now. The market's trying to fake you out both ways. They get you happy long, then they get you short, then they're going to take it back up. As the internals kind of bounced off that 2000. Interesting.
Yeah, it didn't go below it, huh? Look at that. Just maybe barely dipped, and
It's
then
like a dip below, but it didn't close below.
yeah, the close is the important thing.
Yeah, no matter what, be careful. Use the tools. If you're new and you're looking for it, hit me up at support@tradingology.com, and I will get you access to that MES Masterclass. Whether we need a bundle, whether you need the scripts, you let us know. We'll customize it for whatever you guys need.
The bullish indicator was not just the SR line, but it was also the large SD signals. So we saw the chart there indicated 2 institutional buy orders. So there's really big SD numbers there. That's an institutional buy. And then you go into your chart and say, okay, where can I get the best buy opportunity? And so we looked at SR1, SR2, and he's also got a line there at 81.90. I'm not sure how he figured that one out, but as soon as it moved above the SR1 there, that's when I would buy. That's when I would have gotten in. But he got in a little bit later. I think he wanted a
More confirmation.
More confirmation there. Yeah. Yeah, close above SR1 would have been a pretty good signal.
Right there. Yep.
Yep. Pretty good entry, rather.
Isaac wants to know your thoughts on the crypto world in less than 10 minutes.
I think they're just kind of hanging out, waiting. I mean, we are now, I think, in the longest bear market in cryptocurrencies ever since it started. I don't know really what's going on. I think it was a big shakeout a few weeks ago that a lot of projects are no longer being funded. In this case, what's going to happen is the cream's going to rise to the top. The ones that have actual utility and use cases are the only ones that are going to survive. It reminds me a little bit of the dot-com bubble in the crash, where the companies that really didn't have a good revenue model were just like pets.com and some of the other ones that were just based on hype really fell by the wayside. And Amazon, Google, and those companies that had real use case and revenue and solid business models came out of that and did really well. And so I think that's going to be Ethereum and XRP. There's probably going to be a few others that are going to do fairly well. Can't really think of anything right off the top of my head, but I think as far as the analogy here is like, XRP is Amazon and maybe Ethereum is Google. Those two are really strong projects and they're going to survive. I can't really, just in my opinion, I can't really see any of the other ones really. At this point, I'm not sure who's going to be a survivor in that. And Nordic says, I'm getting more and more convinced that XRP is going to form a major component of the SDR basket. It could. I don't know how they're gonna. The SDR is the special drawing rights. It's kind of a special. It's a pool of currencies that governments contribute their currencies to, the G20, the G6, or the G7, and then what they do is they take that pool of currencies that they can use to support weaker economies. And the SDR really never got the liquidity that it needed in order to be a major source of funding over the years. But I think you might be right because it's up for review this year by the IMF. And if the IMF decides that they're going to add some additional components to that, some additional assets besides currencies, by the major currencies, maybe they're going to add cryptocurrencies that could add gold and silver. They could add a lot of different things. I don't see anybody really competing with XRP in the space at all at this point. They've got the utility, they got the use cases, they got partnerships, they got people actually using it. I don't see a lot of competition for them at this point. You're welcome, Isaac.
Yeah, outside of like the smart contracts that we see with real estate that Ethereum's helping solve with those coins, there's definitely room for a few good players.
Yeah, I think Ethereum is going to do well. I think an XRP is going to do very, very well. So, but the use cases for XRP are just enormous, especially in this time in which liquidity is so hard to come by. When you really, and the liquidity I'm talking about is converting from one asset to another. You know, how long does it take to get out of a bond and get into stocks? How long does it take to get out of gold and get into treasuries or something like that? It's moving money around quicker is going to help benefit the entire world economy. And I think a lot of, I think the IMF recognizes that. I think central banks around the world recognize that XRP is the fastest way to convert one asset to another very, very quickly to kind of free up that liquidity.
Yeah, especially with like paying people, right? In times like this, if you don't have to wait for every 2 weeks to get paid or send out a stimulus check, you know,
that would be fantastic. Yeah.
just the regular workforce, you know, you could say, hey, you're paid every day. Here's how much you made. Here's your, you know, here's your currency, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is.
That's right. That's right. I mean, they could pay people by the day.
Yep.
They did that. Andre asks, would you keep all crypto budget in XRP, or would you put some in ETH? I don't have any ETH at the moment. I do think they'll do well. ETH has some issues. Number one is that they're still proof of work. They are trying to go to Ethereum 2.0, which is proof of stake. When they do that, I might buy some. I think you need, and here's what happens when they go from proof of stake to, or proof of work to proof of stake, is that Ethereum, if you have 32 Ethereum, which right now is about $5,000, if you have 32 Ethereum, you can actually stake it and you can earn Ethereum for free when you stake that Ethereum. So that's pretty attractive.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very attractive. So, you know, I don't have any right now, but I'm seriously considering it. And remember that XRP at its high back in 2017 was at $3.80, and Ethereum was at $1,400, and right now it's $159. So I think there's a good possibility that we're going to hit those old highs again at some point in the future. I don't know when. I think in the future, definitely. So I haven't put any money in ETH yet, but everything I have is in XRP right now. If I get some ETH, I'll let you guys know. But
the only other speculation I'm doing so far is I have a small investment in Hedera Hashgraph. I was actually able to get some this week or last week, whatever it was.
Yeah, see, I would do that. I would do Hedera if I could buy it. See, another thing, everything that I'm saying has to do with the fact that I'm in New York State and I can't buy anything else. I can only buy Ethereum, XRP, XLM, Bitcoin, and a couple others. You know, nothing I'm really interested in. I like Hedera. I like Kava as a project. I like Hedera, Kava, and a really, really speculative one is Casino Coin, CSC.
Yep. They're a hard one to find where to get, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know where to buy those either. But anyway.
I had a hard enough time finding where I could buy Hedera, but I got it done.
Yeah, where'd you buy that anyway?
Bittrex.
Damn. You know, I love Bittrex. I absolutely love them when they were in New York State. They lost the bit license. They couldn't get their bit license, and they said it was political. I don't know if it is or not, but I loved them when they were available in New York State. I used them for a while, and now I can't.
It's the ever-changing world. Maybe it'll come back to you.
Maybe. Steven says, you think banks would want money to move that fast? Seems like they always like to put holds on large sums so they can use your money to make money. I would think, yeah, but you know what? They're not making money on that money anymore. Look at interest rates are at 0. So they're not making the money you think they're making anymore. They would rather have the fees. So if they can move your money and make a fee off of that, that's a way higher income for them, because all the banks are dying right now with 0 interest rates. They're dying. And so I think they're going to move to this model of moving money faster for a fee.
Yeah, it's the whole volume game, right? It's like I can get a whole bunch of a little thing versus waiting for one of the thing that doesn't add up. I'm going to do a whole bunch of littles.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to hurt crypto at all. No, look, crypto is the future. There's DLT with a token attached to it to verify those transactions is the future. There's no way that the millennials, as they continue to grow up and they go into their peak spending years, are going to be satisfied with a 3 to 5 day transfer of funds. They're used to instant. And I'll give you a good example of that. It was, what was it? Oh, it was in the 1929, no, it was during World War I. It was World War I leading up to before the Great Depression. World War I, they started selling bonds war bonds in order to support the war. People got on board, they started buying the bonds. It was the first time consumers really had any investment at all in an asset that was going to pay them back, in some way. It was an investment. And it was really like the first investment that normal kind of everyday people could get into. Well, after the Great Depression, it was the consumers that went to the banks and said, hey, look, I need a loan. Can you use this bond that I bought as collateral or something like that? And it was consumer driven. The entire loan in the fractional reserve banking system was consumer driven back in the 30s. And the same thing is happening now with crypto. It's consumer driven. They want faster payments. And so the central banks, they have to pay attention to this and they have to adopt it. Otherwise, they're going to be irrelevant.
Yeah, they're going to be blown away. They'll be left in the dust.
Yeah, they're going to be left in the dust because we can do peer-to-peer transactions with crypto right now. I could send XRP to Dan. Dan could send ETH to me, and we can transact on our own. We don't need the central banks.
Right.
If they can make it more user-friendly, because right now you need to know addresses and tags and stuff like that to be able to do that, and not everybody's going to be able to do that. So their job is to make it consumer-friendly.
Frictionless.
That's where it's going.
Yep.
Ken asked, do I have an opinion on LTC? I don't like it. That's my opinion. It could be good. I don't like it. Charlie Lee sold all of his LTC. He was the developer and he sold all his LTC. Now he's saying it was a mistake and all this stuff, but I don't like Litecoin. It might have a future. I don't know about that. I don't know whether or not it has a future or not, but I don't know if you know, but LTC was originally just a test for Bitcoin. It was like a test net. It wasn't really set up to be a currency on its own.
It's like a sticky note. It's a mistake, or it's just it happened.
Yeah, it just happened. People kind of started using it. Andre says, why do you think the banks are dying at low interest rates? They can get money at low interest rates and lend it out much higher, like credit card loans. Yeah, that's true. They can do a little bit of that, but what they're doing is they're not getting on their reserves. Well, now they have zero reserves, but on the reserves that they were putting up with the Fed, they weren't getting hardly anything on it at all. They can borrow it, but and get higher rates on credit cards. That's true. But everybody is already pretty much at a peak in their credit cards. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people using their credit cards right now, and loans are at an all-time peak. They get some fees from that, definitely, but they would rather have the transaction fees because it's more consistent, much more consistent. Ron says bank stocks and some financials moving down today. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Nordic Chainlink. I like Chainlink as a project. I think they're interesting. Yeah. And they have been moving up recently. I'm not sure why, but I think they were added to Coinbase or no, they were added to Gemini, the Gemini exchange, the Winklevoss twins platform. That's why it was moving up. That's all. Ken, you're welcome. Steven says, funny this morning, CNBC says the stocks rally as banks kick off earnings while at the same time they report JP Morgan showing large earning cut talk only. They talk about oxymoron. Yeah, definitely. You're welcome, Manoj. All right, guys, we're over time here.
Yeah, we're about to wrap her up. So as always, Dave, we appreciate your time. Today was a great one.
Yeah, no worries.
Glad everybody's liking the new system. Keep running it. Keep hitting your singles and doubles, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I just love being in this room with you guys. And I felt, I almost called you last Thursday, Dan. And I said, could you do another trading? Do another one at 1. I said, no.
Could do a double header.
Yeah, do a double header.
You're welcome, Asham.
You're welcome, guys. And we will see you on Thursday.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, everybody. You guys have a great week.
Welcome.
Have a good time out there.
Absolutely. Stay safe, trade well, and just wait for the setups. Patience is the most important thing in trading.
And I'm looking for a unique name. I can't take Sniper because there's just too many programs out there that call themselves Sniper.
Okay.
Asham had a fun one with Cyborg. There's a bunch of that too. So if someone's got a cool idea for a name for the new MES, let me know. I'm kicking around new names since Dave. They said that's one thing you missed last week is you had names for everything. Money every month, blah blah blah. It's like we need to come up with a name for this.
All right, I'll put my thinking cap on. The Falcon board.
There you go, Tom. I like it.
Sideboard trading, profit poach. Back to Slack. Yeah, back to Slack. Let's go back to Slack. But yeah, I'll put my thinking cap on and let you know.
Sounds good, guys. You guys have a good week. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys. Bye.